Are a few bad apples spoiling cruising for everyone? And is this latest solution going to do much to solve the problem? Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now this is a little bit of a serious topic, and we know that over the last few months, Carnival and even some other cruise lines have been in the news, getting a little bit of bad press about some of the disruptive passenger behavior on board their cruise ships. And I do think, especially if you're looking at people maybe that are new cruisers, that can affect them in terms of feeling safe on board a cruise. Now, Carnival has made another recent change in what they say is an ongoing part of finding solutions to these onboard issues. But it brought up for me a couple of questions. I actually have two, I think even three, and I think maybe I wonder if you might have them too. Now, before I get into this topic, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Okay, so firstly, what is a recent change that Carnival has made? Now, if you're a Carnival cruiser, you probably would have known that you could do this, but to be honest, this was not something that I was even aware of. So basically, up until a few days ago, you were able to, if you were going on a Carnival cruise, you were able to order liquor bottles to your cabin to be delivered there on embarkation day. And I think that there was a limitation on this. Perhaps it was 1 or 2 bottles per cabin. If you know the details, please let me know down in the comments below. But basically what Carnival did is they removed the ability for people to pre-purchase these liquor bottles to be sent to their cabin. That I guess people, what they would do is they would pour their own, glass of scotch or something like that, maybe in the evening in their own cabin. They'd basically consume that amount of alcohol and probably instead of buying the beverage package. Now, to be fair, Carnival says that this is not a cutback because, of course, this was a revenue generator for them. And personally, I do believe them. What they are saying is this is a way to kind of curb overconsumption of alcohol, which of course they are not able to monitor in people's cabins. Now, I've seen other people comment that it could also be a way to stop basically minors from consuming alcohol that might be happening in the cabins. Now, I do have a couple of thoughts and a couple of questions about this, including like what might be coming next. But first, I did want to share with you a little bit of the Carnival cruise passenger or the customer reaction. Now, what some people said is that sort of the bad apples are spoiling cruising, or the way maybe they like to cruise, for everyone. Some people said that they like to order 1 or 2 bottles of liqueur to be able to enjoy in their cabins, that they don't overconsume, and this was an affordable way for them to drink responsibly. The other reaction is a lot of people said they wish they would have known before, because if they had an upcoming cruise coming up, they would have at least had a chance to be able to buy that bottle of liqueur in the pre-purchased options. They would have been able to do that before their cruise, and they were disappointed to just find out all of a sudden on social media that this didn't exist anymore. Now, as I mentioned, this is not something that I've ever done before, and I really wasn't even aware that you could pre-purchase your liqueur bottles to be delivered to your cabin on the first day of your cruise. But please let me know if you've ever done that before. Is this something that is more popular than I would have realized? Please let me know down in the comments below. Now, over the last few months, Carnival really has put a lot into place to basically try to alleviate these kind of problems of these disruptive passengers, this kind of thing happening on their cruise ships. And personally, I think that they're doing the right thing. They have put in fines that people could potentially be fined if they start fights on cruises, or if they engage in any of that really disruptive behavior. They can be kicked off the cruise ship at their own expense to be able to get home. And I could easily imagine that alcohol consumption, or at least excessive alcohol consumption, is probably a contributing factor in many of these incidents. Now, by the way, if you are curious, these are not the only things that can get you kicked off a cruise ship. I did a video about this topic. I'll leave that at the end of this one in case you are interested, but some of the reasons will actually surprise you. Now, as Carnival Ambassador John Hill pointed out, this is just one part of how Carnival is dealing with these onboard issues, and basically one of the solutions to it. Now, I don't think any of us can blame Carnival for this. I think when we go on a cruise, we all want a fun, a family-friendly, and enjoyable, a non-disruptive type cruise. We're all just there to have fun, and I do think that probably it really is very few people that are causing these issues. But it did lead me to thinking, what is coming next? Because they did say that this is just one part, and they've already done a few things, and I was wondering about something, and it it has to do with the alcohol. And I was wondering if the bigger problem is really people ordering liquor bottles to their cabin, or if the bigger problem might be, and I don't know, but it might be that people sneak alcohol on cruise ships. Do people still do that? Please let me know down in the comments below if you think that this might be part of the problem. And of course, I know people also go off the cruise ships and they drink in the cruise ports, but I would think that there might be a certain amount of people that do still sneak alcohol on cruise ships. And I am wondering if there are ways they're going to try to cut down on that if that is something that is happening. Now, I have another, I guess it's kind of a serious question. I've been wondering about this for a little while now, and I'll share with you my own story. But I am wondering, are things really that bad? Now, hear me out. The reason that I'm saying this, and honestly, maybe I am wrong about this, so you let me know, please, in the comments below. But I do know that we see everything that happens in mainstream media, social media, YouTube, etc. We see it all as it happens. And in the past, we would not really have shined a light on these kind of things. So whether they were fights on board, whether there was somebody behaving really inappropriately on a cruise or elsewhere, by the way, we would not have seen this. And so is this something that really is a new problem? Maybe it is. Or is it something that did exist in the past, but maybe if it happened, maybe somebody would have seen it firsthand, they would have told their friend, maybe they would have told their travel agent, but it really wouldn't have gone further than that. Whereas now, we really are seeing these things everywhere. They kind of blow up on TikTok, they blow up on YouTube, they blow up in the mainstream media, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be reported on, by the way, but are we simply highlighting or putting a spotlight on those things where we just didn't before? Now, I have a quick story that happened to me on a cruise several years ago. It was pretty awful when it happened at the time, but honestly, it was something that I probably shared with a couple of friends and maybe my family at the time. Nobody more than that. But basically, we were getting off the cruise ship on another cruise line, so it was not a Carnival cruise. And as we were getting into the shuttle, two grown men got into a very serious fist fight. Basically, the idea was that each of the men thought that their families were in line first for the shuttle. That was all it was about. But there was blood on one man coming down his shirt. It was a pretty awful fist fight. And I was actually in the back of the shuttle with my two young children. So it was really not a good feeling to be in that. But basically, the porters pulled these guys away. They were separated. I don't know whatever happened after that. We moved on, even though it was for a few minutes, definitely a scary situation. But my point about that is that that happened at the time. Nobody was there to film it. And we kind of all did move on. And I am just wondering if these situations, the fights, the disruptive behavior on cruise ships, is it really something that's new? Has it always happened? And let's face it, now that we do know that Carnival is doing all these things, I applaud them for it. Is it something that is going to help? Are you happy with it? Are you happy with these latest changes? Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And are there any other things to come? Let me know what you think. Now, I'm going to leave that video that I mentioned about the things that can get you kicked off a cruise ship. I will leave that next. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.